I'm here playing Doom Dungeon by Coder D6. You can see they have a lot of particles and effects going on. You've got some spring action, some scrolling on the platformer. In the project editor, you can see they've got a lot of scripts here making it run. In the variables section, they have some cloud variables, some normal variables, lots and lots of variables here. Okay, scrolling down, you see lists, plenty of lists, and I'm going to delete all of the lists. Good.
Enjoy.
Hello everyone, welcome to the first video on the Oofle-Oof YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Doom Dungeon. This is by Coder D6, and I'm going to remix it and remove all of the variables and all of the lists. So I'm going to name it Doom Dungeon, but only one list. And then I'll edit the description here so that it says Doom Dungeon, but without variables and only one list. Okay, so if we go back into the editor, you can see I've got stuff all over the place, so I'm just going to clean up all the sprites here, make sure everything's in order. Okay, and so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to first replace all the variables with items on a list. So it's a pretty simple thing. I'm just going to replace all of the variables with, for example, item 1 of the list or item 2 of the list. So I need to start off by creating a new list, and I'll name it all data. And this is just going to store all of our variables inside of it. And so you see character here, that's going to be item 1 of the all data list. Fish direction, that's going to be 2. Fish eye, that's 3, and so on. So I need to make a few more spaces on these lists to fit all these variables. I think 14 should be enough to start us off. So I'll just make a few more here. Okay, so now that we've got all of those, I can go over to the list section of variables and grab the item 1 of all data. And so I'm going to start replacing things. And so xscroll, that is... Oh wait, I need to have names for these. So I'm going to make a names list, and that's going to tell me what everything is so I don't forget. This will probably be useful. Okay, so now that I have that, I'm going to start naming everything. So we have character, fish direction, fish eye, etc. Okay, so now we're back and we have all of the names in place so I can actually get started. So we'll start off item 11 of all data is xscroll, so we can get rid of that and put in item 11. And then I'll just replace everything from there. Alright, we're back. We have everything replaced, so all those variables are gone, except of course the cloud variables, which can't be put into a list, so those are going to stay. Alright, so now I need to get rid of all the lists here. As you can see, we've got plenty of list action going on, but I need to read from lists in the all data list so that we can really say the project only has one list. So I'm going to say read list which. That is going to allow an input so I can tell it which list I want to read data from. I'm going to be storing them in the all data list. I'll make a few more spaces to fit all the lists in. And then over in names, I can put the first one I'm going to do, which I believe is unlocked. So I'll make it in all caps to show that it's different, and I'm also going to need a write list block. So make a block, write list, and then an input which, once again, so I can tell which one I want to write. I'm also going to need a number input. This is going to be which item on the list I want, and of course the input, run without screen refresh so it can run nice and fast, because you don't need to be watching all the data being pulled and put in the lists. Okay, so now that I have my blocks ready, I'm just going to quickly make a time lapse of creating all the scripts to read and write data from the all data list. Okay, I've just finished the scripts for reading and writing data, and I've also finished placing them all, and I'm going to clean up blocks. So you can see over here we have all of our reading and writing scripts in place, and in the backdrop this script here is going to show and hide the all data and names lists, so you can see what all of the variables are while playing. I'm going to do a quick test. Okay, so everything seems fine. That looks good. I'll hit play. Well, this doesn't look very good. After a lot of bug fixing, I think everything should be fully functional at this point. I'll go full screen and we'll see. Hitting play again. Okay, so it looks fine and it's very laggy. That's probably because of the particles there. Okay, after a lot of bug fixing and numerous attempts to reduce lag, I'll just delete all the lists because everything should actually be working without them now. And we can test once again to see if it's working. I'll play through level 1, and as you can see I've edited the intro so it says oof lay oof. Okay, so it is still very laggy. But at this point, everything is running only on the all data list. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a quick explanation of how all the scripts work. So in order to store lists in a list, I needed a way to separate the pieces of data. So what I've done is put vertical bars between each piece, and then to read or to get an item from the list, I'll have it use my goTo block, which will set a variable to the vertical bar that is just before the piece of data I want to read. Then it will just read all of the data before it gets to the next vertical bar and give that as an output. In order to write data, it was a bit trickier, and I had to come up with a new idea. What I did was use the same goTo block, which will put me at the vertical bar just before the piece of data I want to write, and then it'll delete the rest of the list before that vertical bar. It will then replace the start of the current list that I have. So the start is going to be what I want to rewrite. It's going to write the input, and then it just rewrites the rest of the list in place of that, and then replaces the original list item in the all data list. If you look at this spring here, you can see that it is flat, and the one I'm about to hit is fully extended. This was a bug I came across during creation, and I was unable to find a way to fix it. But other than that, everything works fine, and I think The most challenging part of this was probably figuring out how to write stuff into lists, and my favorite part was not playing the game, to be honest. Oh, another interesting thing to note here, you may have seen that the character actually dipped into the ground a little there. That's because it is so laggy that we can actually see the character going inside of the blocks and then getting pushed out as the scripts for physics work. You should be able to see it here. He rams into the floor and the wall, and then he pops out on the side. So you can see that there. And almost there. Yeah. Once again, I would not suggest using only one list to store all of the data. Okay, I finished level 1. If we look at the time, you can see it's actually 8.53 seconds. So that means that the timer was running at the time I would have gotten had it been playing normal speed. If you look through, you can see a few lists, you can see all of the different numbers there, and in characters we can see that, well, if it loads,